You see Usman Masvidal, number
Yep,
two?
of course I did. I thought
Dude,
Masvidal was gonna be better in that fight, but I mean Usman is a killer
he's a monster, man.
monster.
Um, I'm not a big fan of any fighters or any basically role model really, but if I'd have to choose a few, Usman would be one of them, man. His character, the way he presents himself, the way he is kind of like something I see myself being if I get to that level. When I get to that level, like his just the way his mentality, his just the way he is, his character, man, it's something I really do appreciate, man. Nowadays we have a lot of fighters that they're divas, man. They ain't real fighters. They ain't real fighters. They ain't real killers. They don't want to go out there and really risk their life to to come out victorious and put their family's name, in honor. They don't know. They don't want none of that shit nowadays. Man, fighters are just doing it for the money, and that's real sad. Boxing is more than just money, in my opinion, man. Boxing is it's it's really a way to show to represent your culture and your roots and where you come from and defy all odds, man. And I think a lot of fighters have lost that mentality, that reason for fighting. And I think Usman is one of the few guys who has it, man. He's just a killer. You can see it in his eyes, man. Like I could see it in his eyes. He's just a killer, man. I don't see anybody beating him at the moment. He just got it. If he's that guy, man. He just has it. And like I said, this is real rare of me to say because I don't think a lot of guys are that guy or a lot of guys have it. But I'm sure he has it. I'm sure he does.
All right, so you were talking about how a lot of fighters are divas today, and a lot of them are just doing it for the money. So that brings me to this: how do you feel about Jake Paul?
Hey, I can't hate on Jake Paul because we all know he's doing it for the money. You see that's my thing. A lot of fighters claim to want to be great, claim to be warriors, to be that guy, to be not bullshitting. But the end of the day, they fold. They don't show those qualities. They don't represent those qualities at the end of the day. See, Jake Paul, we all know his history, his background. He's a YouTuber. He's an entertainer, and he. I wouldn't say he says it, but we're aware of his background. Yes, he plays it. He plays it real good. He plays it to being an actual fighter, but he's really an entertainer. You can't hate him for joining the sport to make some good money. Like I'm a lot of people hate those YouTuber fighters, but hey, they're doing their thing. And you know what? And when you look at it at a more positive way, they're bringing more eyes into boxing because boxing really was slowly dying. It really was. And it hurts my soul to say, man, boxing is not the same anymore. But these YouTubers are getting more eyes on boxing. It's just gonna take real fighters to show that boxing isn't a game, that boxing is a real deal, that it's the gentleman sport, that it's the killer warrior sport everybody has known, since it started. And I think the YouTubers, like I said, is just a way of getting attention to boxing, but the real fighters need to step up. If there's any real fighters out there left, they need to step up and show the world what boxing is about.
I will say this about Jake Paul. More people, I mean, besides Mayweather and maybe Pacquiao and maybe like Tyson Fury but even Tyson Fury, but regardless of like besides Mayweather, basically, more people know Jake Paul than real boxers.
Yeah.
And that is wild. Like more people be like, oh, Jake Paul is boxing. And more people have watched his fights than have watched the last boxing fights. And that is wild to think about that. That he might be the second most famous boxer right now. That's honestly one horrible because like there's like you said, like it like you would it's not horrible in the sense that like he's like he doesn't deserve it because he did like he is this entertainer. But it's horrible in the sense that real boxers don't have that attention. Like you said, I think it is going to take him boxing a real boxer to see for people to be like, oh man, realize. So that's why I think the
Yeah.
Mayweather Logan Paul fight is going to be very big.
Bro. But these fights aren't real fights though, man.
No,
Like
they're not.
they ain't real fights. I'm 99.9% they ain't real fights. Uh, they're just money grabbers, man. Like we're in 2021 now, man. See, Jake Paul, he's an opportunist, man. He knows what's going on in the world right now with technology and especially social media. He knows how to get money. He knows how to get his bag. And you can't blame a man for getting his bag. You can't blame him. You know, if anything, it's the real fighters' fault for not promoting themselves how they should be, for not using social media as an advantage to get their name out there. See, if you do that, and if you are a real boxer and have real fighting skills, and you are a true warrior, you got the full package, man. But I think a lot of fighters they're too stuck in the old school days when you had to be a great fighter and a great fighter only to become successful in the sport of boxing. Now it's different. You have to be a great fighter. You got to have skills and the qualities to become champion of the world, but you also have to know how to promote yourself. Be aware of what's going on in social media. And in a way, we don't need promoters nowadays anymore. All you need is yourself. A fighter doesn't need a promoter. If a fighter knows how to promote himself the right way, he doesn't need a promoter.
Trash talking.